Refuge field, Bodhicitta field, and the purpose of the practice. The refuge field, visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the enlightened beings in the space in front of us as sources of blessings in the form of great compassion, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. And how you visualize them is that they are so loving, caring, and embracing to you and all the beings. And bodhicitta field, visualize your two grandparents and all the sentient beings, including your children, everyone here in the Tushita Center, Dharamsala, everyone in India, in your country, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken your ultimate potential, the potential for the ultimate happiness for yourself and for all the beings, which is also referred to as the Buddha nature or the Tathagata Garbha. And to awaken this, like gold when mixed with mud, is only to remove the mud. Likewise, this gold like Buddha nature is mixed with the mental defilements. To remove the mental defilements, we need to know the nature of the mental defilements. And these mental defilements we see is of two kinds. Gross and subtle. The gross one, referred to as the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which stops us from experiencing total fearlessness. And this afflictive obscurations is constituted of contaminated karmas, afflictions, and active seeds. And all these three somehow hover around. The base is the self-grasping ignorance. Then the cognitive obscuration is constituted of the subtle smells, subtle stains left by the afflictive obscurations, like the subtle smell left by the solid garlic. After removing the solid garlic, wash away so well, smell it, it still smells garlic. This is a metaphor for the cognitive obscurations. So, to remove these, knowing that there is somehow either the subtle stains or the offshoots, or in the form of the self-grasping ignorance, it's only through introducing the light of the wisdom that is ignorance and the stains and its offshoots can be gotten rid of. And what is the remedy? Only the light of the wisdom to see that everything is like a dream. Just as you wake up to see the dream is dream, your fears of the dream dissolves. Where you see the dream is real, that's in the dream, your fears arise. Given that we want to dissolve our fears, we need to wake up. Waking up is by seeing the dream as dream. Seeing the dream as subject real. So with this in mind, imagine that you are leading this practice to gradually remove mental stains by practicing the wisdom of emptiness, imbued by the spirit of bodhicitta, the unconditional love of bodhicitta, grounded on the renunciation, desire to get rid of all the miseries. And all the beings that join you, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Be free. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha, Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha, Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha, Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda zoge chonam la chanjo bardo dane yazo che dage jinso gebe chonam ge dola penjir sanje dubare sho Sanje joda zoge chonam la chanjo bardo dane yazo che dage jinso gebe chonam ge dola penjir sanje dubare sho Sanje joda soge chonam la chanjo bardo dane yazo che dage jinso gebe sonam dola benjere sanje drupare sho. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free to elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers and the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead here seeking pacification, complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrants to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue and expand the varieties of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated participant to benefit sentient beings. The teachers who guide and protect her to you are illustrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who attend the chance for the forever noble light ways, to you the Buddha make illustrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the amount of full awakening for the benefit of sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Dathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Dathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar of Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the obeisance. All composite things are impermanent, all contaminated things are suffering nature. Everything, all phenomena of the nature of emptiness and selflessness, transcending sorrows, peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings from miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and keep teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildering miseries gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If that is grasping, you do not have the view. Page 14, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. to the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, over the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti clan, I persuade, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O Supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you are paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you, her voice, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, with ocean like a golden mountain, famed as blazes in the 3 worlds, winneth the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Just be like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the Feeler merit with qualities like last, to you the Daga I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path of liberation, who feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to more precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. To not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, water bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this merits may sentient beings attain their no false seeing, and subdued and be delivered from some unperturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, Heart Sutra, page 29. The Heart Sutra, the Professional Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Aryatubal gem. Thus did I hear at one time, the Buddha was dwelling on Masa Valsa's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom train? And the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also have empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factor, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object to touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, so on up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation on the path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint and nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the 3 times also manifest a complete awakening to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance with the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the professional wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, and the sound surpassed mantra, mantra equal to non-equal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the professional wisdom is declared: Yatha Om Gade Gade Bara Sam Gade Bodhi Soha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train in the profound professional wisdom like that. Then the Buddha arose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound professional wisdom just as you indicated, even that the Tathagatas rejoice. To the Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharitvadiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding the entirety along with the world of gods, humans as well as in Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Buddha. Okay, just imagine that you are there in a Rajgir and the Bodhisattva Muni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Avalokiteshvara, Shariputra, they were all there right in front of you. You're just in the first row. And your parents, your children, and all the sentient beings living on the side, they are there, and you're reciting this as a reminder for us, that finally it is my job to cleanse the mind of the mental defilements, that the Buddha nature within me gets activated, so that I experience infinite happiness, fearlessness, and that I can share this wisdom with all the beings. And imagine that all the sentient beings, they're so happily join you in this journey. Om Gade Gade Pada Gade Pada Samgade Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate 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 Bodhi Swaha. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may inner and outer hindrance be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspicious and perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, let us read the 8 verses of my training. A quick reminder that the 8 ways of mind training is primarily to invoke your compassion, bodhicitta. Meanwhile, keep in mind that it has to be worked in 2 ways. That is, that while reinforcing the virtuous mind, also try to mitigate the power of the negative mind. And negative mind is primarily ego and anger. So this is what is extremely sad. We are a great servant of the anger. And yes, ego and anger can see that the anger and ego is so closely connected. We are the servant. We are slave of these two. So although when you are sane, nobody wants to be angry. Nobody wants to see somebody angry. And yet, when you're in the grip of the anger, you can say anything. You can do anything. And at the end, you regret. When your anger subsides, it regrets. And anger pushes others away from you. And it's so hard. Finally, you want happiness. In this anger, what gives rise to anger is that, okay, this person is somebody who, makes me unhappy. So with the intention to have happiness, you are trying to push the other person away. Meanwhile, the secret of happiness lies in embracing others, not pushing. And by pushing, the energy for you, the capacity for you, the potential for you to embrace others is minimized. So the secret of happiness, the key to happiness is lost. So the whole purpose is defeated. So ignorance, we can very clearly see in this very sane state of mind, we can see that anger, the ego, these are the sources of your destruction, not source of your strength. So the 8 verses of mind training, they help us to mitigate the power of anger and the ego. Meanwhile, let us not mistake the ego with the self-confidence. These two should not be equated. And these two, for how do we determine somebody who is evolved versus somebody who is ordinary? Ordinary beings, they equate these two. When your ego is subsided, your self-confidence also diminishes. When the self-confidence builds up, your ego also builds up. Whereas the evolved people, it doesn't mean that there is somebody class of people known as evolved and you are the ordinary people. It is not like a caste system. It's like you can cultivate yourself. Even that we are ordinary beings is also dependent originated, but dependent on the factors. Try to let go, try to remove those factors dependent upon which we become ordinary. Remove those factors, and then you become empty of ordinary being. You are not ordinary anymore. That is known as the evolved beings. Where there's no darkness, there's light. So you become evolved beings. So even the fact that if you see that you're ordinary, where your self-confidence builds up, your ego also goes up, your ego subsides, self-confidence goes down, which means that we are ordinary, but don't hate for this purpose, for this reason. Instead, know that we being ordinary is also dependent originated. So wise people will not worry that I'm an ordinary person. Instead, they will be so happy to identify that my being ordinary is because of dependent origination, dependent on these factors like anger, ego, so forth. So remove these factors and then they increase those factors for evolved beings like self-confidence, loving compassion, sensibility, common sense, wisdom. So these will make me evolved being. So you cultivate, you encourage those good qualities and you mitigate those bad qualities, depending on which you become evolved beings. So this is what this whole idea. So here deliberately, these are some of the techniques employed. How to mitigate the power of your ego, how to mitigate the power of the selfishness and anger. So these are not to make you feel weak. Some people feel that, so by reading this, I feel so weak myself, that, I give the victory to you. I take all the loss on myself. No, there is actually loss, meaning you feel little the unpleasant. It is actually combating your selfishness, combating your self-centered attitude, combating your ego, and combating your anger. Because the source of anger is wishing happiness for yourself, wishing miseries on others. And that is the source of anger. When you wish that, when somebody is happy, you are unhappy, then you become so angry. Whereas you wish happiness for others, and you see happiness with others, you feel so happy. When you see others deprived of happiness, you feel sad, and the compassion grows. With the compassion, the feeling is not disturbed. Okay, so this is the whole idea. 8 verses for training mind by Geshe Dorji Damdul. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character and those who are oppressed by strong negativity of suffering, I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, I take upon myself their defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard them still as a precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all these remain undefiled by the stains of the eight mundane concerns, and may I, recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my true collections, vast as space out of a mess, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Okay, 7 in practice in order to prepare ourselves to this journey, for this journey of enlightenment. The 7 points to keep in mind to make the journey successful. I bow down to the authority of Manjushri. You, the Buddhas, the lions amongst humans, God of freedom in the present, past, and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you who are with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy or aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms in the world, to all you Buddhas, visualize His real, I bow down. On every particle of Buddha's numberless as particles, each of me is a host of Bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. With the infinite ocean of praise for you, an ocean of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Sugatas. Beautiful flowers in regular gardens. Offer to you victorious ones, the Buddhas. A fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru. All wondrous offerings and spectacular array offered to you victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, payless and vows, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done within my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and ignorance, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift my heart and rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, of solitary realizers here still training in those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of the worlds in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana. Please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated by making prostration, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting that Buddhas teach, I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. Okay, short mantle offering. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha filled and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. The 4 Dhammas of Venerable Gambupa. May it be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May it be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May it be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May it be blessed that flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The four dharmas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva, becoming utterly frustrated with ignorance that grasps the true existence. Please bless with a genuine enunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Ranam Lagam Nirateyami. Okay, the foundational good qualities by Lama Tsongkhapa, the roadmap to enlightenment. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth found is only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtues and non-virtues come and follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is a door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pradimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so follow other migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility to free migratory beings. Even if develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate clearly within my mind stream the unified part of the karma abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gate of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the true attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges of my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it with long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all out and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separate from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, praise to Lama Tsongkhapa. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, a Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyed hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages' land with snows, lobsang top at your feet and make prostrations. Jambeyam Kanje Kebe Tsoge Tsokaba Lo Sa Chabe Shabla Sovane Kanje kebe tsoge tsokama lo sa chabe shabla sovane. Venerable Geshe, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroy the hosts of demons without exception, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, those honored by their feet and make prostrations. Okay, next, generating the Mara Consummate Yoga, in Tibetan, Tamjil Nijwa Simkepa. Okay, this is the main practice with 4 points. 1, single point meditation. Number 2, Number 1, single point of meditation. Number 2, renunciation. Number 3, bodhicitta. Number 4, visual emptiness. Okay, good. So first, 5 minutes single point of meditation. And some of you may be doing like say breathing meditation. Some of you may be doing the Buddha image visualization meditation. Some of you may be doing Goengaji's and the Vipassana meditation. You can do any meditation as long as it is coming from an authentic source, genuine source. Okay, so meanwhile, what is important is that make sure that your mind doesn't fall prey to the 2 errors. What are they? Laxity and excitement. Very good. So make sure that these 2 are the things to stay away from. And then if you do encounter these 2, your job is to apply the remedies. What are the 2 remedies? Okay, good. Thank you. Introspection and mindfulness. So ideally speaking, introspection comes first, to introspect, to see if you're still meditating or if you're already fallen prey to laxity and excitement. Once you see that your mind is excited, which means overactivity of mind, scattered, or your mind is sleepy, drowsy, heaviness, then apply mindfulness. Mindfulness like the rope to bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. Ready? 5 minutes. And 2 things, eyes not closed. Eyes not closed. And I can see that some of you are still keeping your eyes closed in your meditation. I can see that. This is not advisable. And only when you become really good in meditation after a prolonged period of time, like say a few months of practice, or 1 year practice, 2 years practice, you really become good at it, then through your own experience, you can do the meditation with the eyes closed, without eyes closed. Whereas if you learn only to eyes closed, at a certain point, you will never progress anymore. It's very dangerous. Okay, ready? Um, for single point of meditation, there are a few things to keep in mind. One is that the sound of water falling, very forceful rivers, the sound of the very ferocious rivers, they can be very disturbing. And also the movement of things, like they say that, you use a fan, and then you see that these clouds, they move in front of your eyes. They can be very disturbing. And then they say, but right next to your eyes, the very colorful and patterns, they can be very disturbing. And of course, the cushion should not be too hard, not be too soft. It should be just average, and if possible, it should not be too small, a little wider, bigger. And the sound is one. And then when the sound is totally, it's pin drop silence, again you can hear the internal chat. Not really chat, the internal noise. You notice that? How many notice that? When it's pin drop silence, one thing is you can hear like sing, like this through ear, this is one thing. Then even if that stops within the brain, you can hear like the birds chirping. Okay, so these you can't do anything. So what you do is that you continue your practice, and don't feel irritated when these things happen. Don't feel irritated. You are building on again another bad habit of the irritation when these things happen. So one's meditation is to stop your irritation. Meditation should not increase your irritation. So try to, so it's not that I can, they say, get rid of all the external factors. I will try to minimize them, and what is beyond my control, it's fine. And then try to make sure that your mind is focused on the object. One is being pulled by other factors. Try to just keep it focused, bring it back to the object, bring it to the object. So this is what we do. And gradually, very naturally, that happens very naturally, and then the mind will sit on the object, and gradually all other things will be more oblivious. You become more oblivious to all other things. So the external factors will not stop you as much. And then with the practice of bodhicitta, if you practice bodhicitta and you hear, some people talking, chatting and so forth, so the differences there, why these people talking, So actually you're supposed meditating, and you look so irritated. What is the English word? Grumpy. Right? So, other point is the way if you practice bodhicitta, so you're single point meditation, and you hear somebody chatting, right? You feel such joyous feeling when somebody's there. That person is talking, which means the person is healthy. The person is not in the bed, not bedridden. I'm so glad that you're healthy, right? Because you're telling me that I'm healthy, don't worry. So you feel so happy. Whereas if you don't practice bodhicitta in meditation, this is supposed to be single point meditation. Look, this person is talking, totally the word, not sensitive to what we're doing here. Okay, this is where bodhicitta practice would be so helpful to just to feel the joy over external factors. And the wisdom of emptiness is very powerful to make you totally fearless. Okay, so with these two things accompanying you, even your single point meditation will be more powerful. Okay. Yes, Jyoti. Louder, I can hear you. Okay, the easy question, why not here? Why not here? Okay, I said there are so many, keep in mind what I said. There are so many versions. You're getting it? Finally, you should be responsible for your own meditation. Don't blame the teachers, don't blame anyone else. There are so many versions are there. And usually, if you focus mind here, it can be very dangerous until you are prepared. Because here, you can feel the energy movement, and the energy movement can make your energy flow, go haywire. It's very dangerous. You're getting it? Don't just, read books and you watch YouTube, or somebody says do like this, and you do this, and you go crazy, and you cannot blame anybody. Right? You are responsible. So, at least when I'm teaching you, I take responsibility. Not that anybody will take responsibility when she teaches. You're getting it? Some teaches something, for example, say, yesterday some of your brain hangs, right? It's a nice start. Right? So today I can see that the grass must be fresh air. Yeah. So the point of what I'm saying is that they say, be very careful with the meditation. Meditation is something which is, nothing is better than, hey, something. Not something is better than nothing. You're getting it? Do it. Either don't do it. Even if you do it well, or don't do it. Because this is something you're playing with your mind. And mind and energy, it can really make you go crazy. Once your energy inside body goes crazy, to fix it is very difficult. Medicines can just numb you. It cannot fix you. You're getting it? And then the other meditations, they will take long time to fix it. To destroy is very easy. To fix is very difficult. You're getting it? So this is very dangerous. Only when the teacher is very standard, only when you are ready, right? Then the teacher can instruct, and you should have the confidence that if something goes wrong with me, my teacher will fix it. If you don't have this confidence, don't do it. You're getting it? It's very dangerous. And some people with eyes closed, many people report that okay, in my meditation I feel vertigo. What is vertigo? Like this, vertigo, right? So like this is so like you lose your balance, body balance. So the first question that I ask is that, do you do meditation with eyes closed or open? Answer is closed. That's a problem. So I keep your eyes open. Later when you become expert in the meditation, I won't say expert, good at meditation, then when you eyes open, eyes closed, both is not a problem for you. And through your own experience, at times you may feel that, oh, eyes open is really meaningful. You're getting it? Okay. Dido, you have a question?
Just I didn't understand what happens here when you focus on that point.
When you focus here, some energy, energy can easily move in your body. Energy within your body, here, then body, it can go haywire.
Okay. So no control about
no control. Then to fix it is very difficult. You're getting it? People can easily tell you, oh, focus your mind here, right? First you have to say, are you really sure? Right? Are you really sure? If I do this, if I'm wrong, can you fix it? There are many of these problems happening. Okay. Yes.
Meditating but not focusing here, when you can long breathing, when you feel bursts of energy, like energy bursting within you, is that something that is somebody that is doing something wrong?
So basically keep in mind that if you're doing a meditation with a proper instruction, from an authentic source, still things can, the things may not happen the way intended. Don't worry about this. Just go back to the object. Focus on the object. Just ignore any other experience. Sometimes extremely pleasant experiences will come to you. Visions, extremely beautiful visions can come to you. Even the Buddha can appear to you. But don't focus on the Buddha. Focus on what you should be focusing on. The breath, visualization, whatever you're meditating, focusing on, just focus on this, right? All others are, just ignore. Just ignore all of the experiences. Sometimes you may feel so blissful and you get trapped there, which means that you have shifted your focus from your intended object to the bliss. So you have already digressed. That is the mistake. But you're good. Next. What's next?
renunciation.
Renunciation. Julia. Yes.
About meditation, we're supposed to set a motivation before meditation. How do we know if it's the right motivation after meditating? Sometimes I have very vivid dreams. Is it a good indication or bad?
Okay. Yes, louder.
I want to ask, how do I set a good motivation for my meditation? And if after meditating, I have very vivid dreams, does that indicate that I'm on the right path or that I've made some error?
Did you follow the question? Good. I'll say generally speaking, with the meditation, if something changes in your dreams, particularly qualitatively, you can see a difference in your dream. Yes, what is said is true. Either it can be your meditation. It is related to meditation. Either it is good meditation or wrong meditation. Now, how to evaluate that? Oftentimes it is said that if you're doing something, say a simple meditation, don't worry too much. Whereas more complex meditation, it is said that you have to double check with your teachers. Even if you think that you are meditated for the last 10 years, 20 years, some drastic change in your meditation, the pattern, the dream, the sleeping pattern, the dream pattern, these things change, you have to check with your teachers. That's one thing. Otherwise, say it is something the auspicious, where say even in the dream, the people that you meet, they are extremely happy, and even it will be so clean, tidy, and color combination, they are so beautiful. When these things happen, it's a good indication. But if you latched onto this, meaning that if you cling to this, then it can go wrong. So we are not to cling to this, but just feel the joy that I'm lucky that okay. So may this not be a digression to my path, and otherwise this is what is indicated as good omen, good. But let me not be too attached to this. This is not because of this, because of the meditation. I should focus more on the meditation, right? And then with the meditation, continue with this meditation qualitatively. Even these indications or symptoms, they keep improving, they become better, which means that you are going in the proper track. Good meditation. Okay, good. Okay. Next pronunciation on this of the four seals. Ready? So this is going to be analytical meditation, and for the time being, 28 is going to be last day. 28, and today's 25th, 26th, 27th, and 27th. What is it tomorrow? 26th, we'll do this renunciation without guided instructions, right? We try to do on your own, and today we'll do it guided, and so that you will today particularly pay attention as to how to do that by yourself without any external instructions coming to you. Yeah. Okay. Ready? Renunciation. The meaning is to renounce your miseries, not to renounce happiness. To renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce causes of the miseries. The Buddha taught, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these composite phenomena, they arise from the causes. And what are the causes? Ye dharma hetu prabhava, hetum desham tathagato hyavata. These causes are indicated by the Tathagata. And the Buddha identified ultimately the ignorance as a cause which is responsible for the miseries. And this ignorance is of many layers. Say at one point Buddha identified 4 layers of ignorance. Saying impermanent phenomena is permanent. Saying viewing impure things as pure. Viewing miseries as happiness. And viewing things which are of selfless nature as of self-hurt. Okay, the first seal to get rid of this first ignorance, the Buddha taught all composite things impermanent. This impermanence is of two kinds, gross and subtle. Gross impermanence, the impermanent phenomena, where the continuum comes to an end. Your youth comes to an end. And the Buddha taught, whatever gathers, separates, disperses. This is what is happening to us. We gathered on 20th and 21st, and 29th we are separated. Whatever is accumulated is exhausted. Whatever stands for, whatever is born dies. This is reality. Yes. Yet our mind is so infested with the belief, the ignorance, to see things so permanent. This ignorance. The people who existed 200 years ago, today, whether the plans, whether the ambitions are accomplished or not accomplished, along the plans, they're all gone. And the fact that we exist today is a clear proof that somebody existed as your great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents and ancestors. How many you remember your ancestors? Fourth generation in the past, fifth generation, sixth generation. How many you remember them? Forget about remember, you have no clue who they are. And they're gone. This is the impermanence. And we cling to our children. We cling to our properties. After 3 generations, 4 generations. Where's your property? Perhaps in the hands of somebody totally unrelated to you. This is impermanence of samsara. Even within a single lifetime, we see that somebody's properties just go to something totally unrelated, and you could have so much unhappiness to witness this, and it happens. Not a mention of 4 generations, 5 generations, so forth. This impermanent. So wise people will not hang after the properties so much. They will hang after those qualities which one can take from one life to the next. To make one move from the darkness to the light, from unhappiness to the happiness, to the ignorance to the wisdom. Those people who put effort, invest time and energy towards this end, these are the wise people. So let's be wiser. And this impermanence is marked by a very subtle impermanence, which is trapped in the ignorance to believe that things are so static. Composite things are so static, that your body is so static, your environment that you live in is so static, the family members are so static. No, once in a while, the reality displays, manifests its own true nature, the true face, the loss of near dear one suddenly. It shocks us, which means that we are not mentally prepared. We do not think of these possible realities. Yes. And these impermanence, they are marked by momentariness. All composite phenomena must necessarily follow the momentariness, moving so fast. How the timer works. You press the button and you could hardly see the digits, they're moving so fast. This is how our body moves, this is how mind moves, this is how your family members move, this is how the world in which we move is very scary though. And where is this fast moving body, the mind, the world taking us? Like a very fast moving train It's very scary if somebody throws you in an unknown person throws you in a very fast-moving train. The faster the train moves, more the fear. And our head, our body, the world in which we live, they move much faster on the level of the millisecond. They on the level of the millisecond, nanosecond, so fast, much faster than the fastest train. Very scary. Who decides where this train is taking you? It's just decided by the driver. If the driver is the mother or the father, no one will take you to pick this spot. Whereas the driver is under the control of the terrorists, or the driver is terrorist or under control of terrorists, no one will take you to the slaughterhouse. In our case, the driver is the mind. Unfortunately, this mind is under the sway of the two demons, two terrorists. Worst of the contaminations, self-grasping ignorance, complemented by the self-centered attitude. As long as the mind is under the sway of this contamination, the vicious terrorists, it'll only take us to miseries. Miseries like what? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, bewilderment, confusion. One moment of such pain, such a tragedy is good enough to make all what we experienced as merriments, festivities, celebrations, birthday parties, and so forth, as optical illusion, is purely optical illusion, so shallow, meaningless. Yes, that's very true. And when will this stop? When these miseries stop? And one day, no doubt, there's going to be a day when you have to leave this train. Yes, it's like a train ride. People that they are in the train, and then you come later on this train where your parents are there. And one place the parents leave, and you are there. And then your children join you later, and then one point you have to leave. And even some other passengers come, some leave without your awareness, without your notice. This is the life, the trend of life. Yes, meanwhile, so much anxiety, anguish, and tears. This is what the Buddha taught us, all contaminated things are suffering. And when will these miseries stop? 2020 stop on its own. When will they stop? No, they will never stop on their own. Impermanence is of three kinds. One whose continuum stops on its own, like 2020, 2021, your youth, your happiness. And there's a second class of impermanence which will never stop no matter what you do. Your mind, time, and so forth. And there's third class of impermanent phenomena, which does not stop at all until you exert effort. Like what? Your ignorance, your miseries, your self-centered attitude, your self-grasping ignorance. They will never stop on their own until you put concerted effort. Okay, at least there's a hope there. What kind of effort? To stop these miseries altogether, stop the ultimate cause of the misery. And ultimate cause of misery is self-grasping ignorance. I'll stop this. Is by introducing the wisdom, the light of the wisdom. What is that wisdom? The wisdom, by the definition, is a discerning mind. What's apprehension of object tells with reality? What's reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. That everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Okay, let us quickly meditate on emptiness. Of course, we're not fully introduced to emptiness, but we will follow this instruction to get some cursory understanding of the emptiness. Okay, today let's meditate on emptiness of the flower. And this later on you can extend to cheesecake or anything that you are so fond of, or that you're so averse to take just imagine a beautiful flower which makes you so delightful and happy. Okay, how does this flower appear to you? Like a dream that your mind, subjective mind, projects? Or no, it has nothing to do with my mind. It's so objective there, so objectified, so defined. How does it appear to you? Of course, in the second way, as so objectified, so defined there. This belief that the flower exists objectively, this is self-grasping. This is the ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance pertaining to the flower. And pertaining to self is self-grasping ignorance of the person. So here is the self-grasping ignorance of the flower. How do you know that this flower doesn't really exist that way, the way it appears objectively real? Remember what Nagarjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? When which you said yesterday, that how to evaluate some of this mirage of real water is by going closer to the object. So this is exactly what Nagarjuna said in the Precious Garland. If the mirage were to be water, although those close by the mirage see water. We can also go closer towards this flower to see it exists objectively. So yesterday we learned the mind which goes closer towards the flower to analyze what exists objectively is known as ultimate analysis. Now, the mind which sees the flower from distance is known as compassion analysis. Now we switch our mind from the compassion analysis to the ultimate analysis by going closer to the object. And in the process, we are looking, given that we are looking for the objective flower, what if it's not the objective flower? We just ignore these. Okay, the mind which goes closest to the flower for the ease of our analysis. Imagine that we use an electron microscope, but it's not necessary though. Subjecting this the flower to ultimate analysis by employing the electron microscope, you see that this flower, which is so beautiful with amazing texture there, tender color combination and the texture, very tender texture there. This is totally optical delusion. Under electron microscope, we see that there's a lot of cracks there, like the dry mud, dry clay. And these cracks, through further fine-tuning electron microscope, we said these are just the cell membrane, partition of the cells. Cell membrane. Through further fine-tuning electron microscope, you see the nucleus inside. Through further fine-tuning, you see the chromosomes. And the chromosomes are so repulsive to look at. Yes, earlier the feeling of the appeal disappears and a very repulsive feeling comes to me. Through further fine-tuning this, you see the DNA molecules. And further fine-tuning this, we see the atoms. We can go beyond, just stay there for time being. So now with the atoms, even the aversion dissolves, it becomes a neutral feeling. Look at, just see how the same object gives you 3 different emotions. Now, what do you see? You see a bunch of atoms. Are these atoms the flower? No. So that you are seeing the objectively, that when the answer does ultimate analysis objectively, nothing of the atoms constitute, which are the parts of the atom, the flower, is seen as intrinsically one with the flower. Which means the parts, atoms, are not the flower, objectively. If the atoms are not the flower, objectively or intrinsically, then the flower, if you still believe that the flower exists objectively, it must exist as different from the atoms. Remove the atoms, what do you see? Nothing is left there as intrinsically different, as objectively different from the flower, from these atoms. Okay, so with this gives us a conclusion that from the object, where's the flower now? Nowhere to be seen, neither the atoms, no different from the atoms is the flower there. From the object, In the ultimate analysis, the flower is absolutely empty. Stay in this experience for a while. This is not exaggeration. This is the discovery that you make. In the ultimate analysis, the flower is empty. It doesn't mean the flower is non-existent. It simply means the flower is empty objectively. The flower is empty ultimately. It exists objectively. Okay, from the object, from the side of the object, the flower is empty. Stay in this experience for a while. We get this amazing experience. But what's the benefit of this meditation? Yes. Just as the flower, when subjected to this ultimate analysis, the flower dissolves and your emotions transform. Likewise, if you subject all the sorrows of life, anxiety, anguish, depression, stress, the pain of losing near and dear ones and so forth, when we subject these sorrows to ultimate analysis, they will also dissolve into emptiness. Your sorrow dissolves, your agitation dissolves, your fear dissolves. Fear dissolves, the peace dawns in the mind. And there's absolute peace. You can see this experience for the eternity. You experience the absolute peace. This is the meaning of the transcendence of sorrow. Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. This is the state of fearlessness which everybody is seeking. That's amazing. Wow. Now this is just generate this desire, the aspiration. May I be able to embody this experience of emptiness where all my fears dissolve. This experience of the aspiration that cultivate is known as the renunciation. This is the final understanding of renunciation. Wishing to get rid of all the miseries in the experience of emptiness. Okay, so just embody this experience for a while. You slowly come out of this before we switch to the bodhicitta. Take a few seconds. Okay, for the bodhicitta, we will do the 4 immeasurables. So the last 2 days we did the first 2 immeasurables. Today we'll do all the 4 immeasurables. And the 4 immeasurables are immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity. 4. You ready? Again, it's going to be a guided meditation. Just try to invoke the respective spirits to the best you can. And at times, it may sound very superficial, it doesn't matter. Your job is to, be aware that this means the practice where you don't feel it naturally and eventually start with some superficial and eventually it becomes natural. Okay, this is the practice. Ready? Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness? And the cause of happiness primarily consists of the wisdom of emptiness, the most fearless mind, and the unconditional love of the bodhicitta, the most beautiful mind in this world. May all my dear sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Buddhists think that we make such a courageous commitment that the mother after all these many years of bringing her children up, raising her children, today the eldest daughter just aged 12, the eldest son just aged 11, 2 of them come to the mother. Tell the mother, please take for us. You've done everything for us. We love you so much. We feel so grateful to you. You're so loving. We're grown up, we'll take her for all our siblings. And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. She felt so happy and proud of you. This is exactly what Bodhisattva told Bodhisattvas who witness that he makes such courage commitment to take responsibility for all the devils based on his shoulder. This incredible the happiness and the pride Bodhisattvas feel invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to central nectars for truthfulness to you and ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of last nectars with the Bodhisattva is yours. It instills in all happiness, and the cause of happiness in the minds of sentient beings yourself. And you witness such a miracle settlement with all demons and your beings. You intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths out to relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that almighty sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering? Cause of self-primary consists of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, and along with the offshoots in the form of contaminated karmas and afflictions and the sort of stains. May almighty sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I will take the responsibility that almighty sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the Geshe make with such courageous commitment and intensely and proud of you. This happiness pride invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to self the nectars of resultness to you are not innocent beings. They mere touch of light nectars with the bodies of beings yours, washes over all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the demons and you make yourself. And you witness such a miracle settlement was over demons and beings. You are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths out of relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that almighty sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes happiness that they endowed with. May almighty sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes happiness that they endowed with. I will take the responsibility that almighty sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes happiness that they endowed. And Buddhist Bodhisattvas, witnessing that we make such a courageous commitment and intense happy and proud of you. This brought happiness invoke the compassionate omniscient minds to central nectars bear smooth glass towards you and ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of less nectars stabilizes happiness and causes happiness the beings endowed. And you witness such a miracle has happened towards all the different sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 breaths out. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dim sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dim sentient beings equally, leaving them aside. May all my dim sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dim sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others. The Bodhisattvas, witnessing that we make such a glorious commitment, the intensely happy and proud of you. This happiness, pride, invoke the compassion of omniscient minds to settle nectars of truthfulness towards ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of last nectars with the body's beings yours. Frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion to others, and making them abide in the state of equanimity, embracing all other dim sentient beings equally, leaving them aside. And you, but as such miracle accepting towards all the dim sentient beings, your intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths out with relief. Underscoring all the 5 mesh pulses of unconditional love towards all the dim sentient beings. Imagine that you're looking at eyes of all the sentient beings with this unconditional love, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. This is the most beautiful mind. It's amazing. With this unconditional love that is generated now with folded hands, let us make a bodhicitta commitment 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Abiding this most beautiful mind of bodhicitta, the most beautiful mind that positive existence, whole universe, and today you have generated this. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean, white grotesque, horizontally sitting down. Okay, it's amazing that we made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. But how do you know that you can become a Buddha? No matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil come out of that. Yes, that's very true. But I'm not like a handful of sand. Instead, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, because of the Buddha initiative within me, the seed of perfection within me. But how come that since time immemorial till today, your Buddhism never awakened? Yes, that's true. It's all because that thus far I trusted these 2 demons of grasping in their self-centered attitude, thinking that these were my best friends. Today I'm disillusioned by that. I'm going to do everything to external the 2 demons so that the Buddha nature inside me will be awakened. How can you do that? By introduce a very powerful counterforce. What is that? The wisdom of emptiness. Let's quickly retreat the experience of emptiness, which you meditate as the 3rd seal, as a part of the 4 seals. Okay, quickly get off the flower in front of you. How does the flower appear to you? As some object real, not at all like projection from the mind. Okay, this belief is the self-grasping things. This is what you have to eradicate at the subtle stages. Let us subject this to see if this flower really exists, object real. Remember what Arjuna said. If the mirage were to pour water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Like If this flower exists subjectively, why don't I see this flower as I go close to its object? Okay, now let's go close to its object by subjecting this flower to atomic analysis. By subjecting this flower to atomic analysis, we just end up seeing just billions of atoms. That's it. Tell me now, which of the parts of the atom, which of the parts of the flower from atoms is to be intrinsically identified as the flower, objectively to be identified as the flower? None. This understanding of the emptiness of the flower being empty of the emptiness of the flower being intrinsically one with its parts, the atoms. Okay. If these atoms are not to be identified as the flower, see if the flower is to identify objectively as different atoms. Remove the atoms. What is that? Nothing's left there. This is the understanding of the emptiness of the flower being intrinsically different from its parts, which are the atoms. Okay. So this then takes us to the fourth essential. Now, from the object with the flower, these are the only two possibilities for the objective as objective flower, either the atoms or some different atoms. And now it's true. Where is this flower? This object free. Nothing in that ultimate analysis, nothing is identified as a flower from the object. Stay in this experience for a while. You may get a tingling sensation, you may get a tinge of fear. At times you may get extremely tranquil feeling. If it does happen, you're very fortunate. If it does not happen, don't worry. Just continue to go for more extensive studies and reflection. And this will happen to you. Okay. So this experience of the emptiness, of the wisdom of the emptiness of the flower, slowly transform this wisdom into a spotless, clean, white vajra. Thumb-sized white vajra. If you don't know what is like white vajra, it's just a prolonged structure. The structure, like thumb size, vertically sitting on the one disc at a heart. That's amazing. The moon disc symbolizes the compassionate bodhicitta, which is unconditional bodhicitta, wishing to become Buddha for the purpose of sentient beings. This is what will exterminate its self-centered attitude. And the vajra symbolizing, which is a metaphor or symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, the non-dual wisdom of emptiness of the Arya Bodhisattvas. If you don't know what is Arya Bodhisattvas, don't worry. So this is what will exterminate all the mental defilements. Wow, that's amazing. I'm so lucky today that the two most powerful remedies to remove all the mental defilements so the Buddha and Buddha would manifest to experience the total fearlessness and infinite temperance. That's amazing. Meanwhile, let's not forget your two parents, your children, all demonstrating beings around you. What's the point? If they are suffering and you are experiencing ecstatic happiness, yes, a great compassion for them. Imagine that the Vajra wanted your heart to multiply infinite number of times. She once said it was a moon at the heart of your mother. Once said it was a moon at the heart of your father. Once it was a moon at the heart of each of his children. Each of them, your family members, each of the beings here interested in the meditation center Dharamsala, each of the beings in your own country, with each of the beings, the human beings, animals, insects, herd goats, herd beings, god goddesses, each of the beings in the entire world, in the entire universe. Wow, that's amazing. Now I'm able to see that all the beings who I love so much, they also have to share with Vajramoon, the two bodhicittas. Wow. Let's not forget that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so lovingly watching us. Yes, why not we invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be the witness and our guests to our undertaking the ceremony of taking the aspects of Bodhicitta vow. So that's a gesture of inviting all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas to be the guests and the witness to our untamed ceremony of taking the aspects of Bodhicitta vow. Along with all the dear and sentient beings, each one of us, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And imagine that all beings are joining you in making prostrations. Okay, see if you can sit on your right knees. Right knees, the way I'm sitting. Put your right knee down and the left knee up. Yes. Okay, this ceremony, taking the especially Bodhisattva vow, as yesterday I made it very clear, that this vow does not entail any kind of the commitments and so forth, no commitment at all. If at all you want to, to take some or feel some commitments or commit something, then you just make commitment that from today onwards, I'll try my best to be kind to others. And if not, at least I'll not harm others. So this much, if you can commit yourself, you are entitled to take this as a Bodhisattva vow. Okay, so we are sitting on your right knees. And if you have any problem with the knees or backache, you have backache problem, sit in the most comfortable the position. And those of us who are sitting on your right knees, it seems that it may take a little time. The moment you start feeling the pain, just make sure that, so you begin with your right knees, on your right knees, and then later when you feel the pain, you sit in the most comfortable position. Because this pain should not hamper our reflection of thoughts. Okay, so what we're doing is we are taking the Esplanade Bodhisattva vow, and just visualize your two parents, or your children, and all your family members, and all the human beings, the animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, and even the mosquitoes, and all the insects, all those who have the feeling of not wanting to suffer and wanting happiness. Just visualize all of them around you, and like a mother, you are encouraging all of them to extract the meaning of life, and they all happily join you. And meanwhile, visualize what those bodhisattvas, as you invited, they're there, like the parents who feel so proud. Imagine that you are a young girl, just age 5, or a young boy, age 5, for the first time in your life, making a public appearance on behalf of the school, and you, of course, and your parents leave all the works for that day to join the audience, waving the hands to you, reassuring you that they are there for you, and these are bodhisattvas, like your parents, they're watching us. And you, for the first time, you're taking this as bodhisattva vow, saying that I'm going to become good, I'm going to be useful in the community, I'm going to become a Buddha for the sentient beings. Okay, so imagine that you are leading this and all beings are joining us. And yesterday I already explained the verses, and let me quickly explain this again for you to remember, to refresh. The first verse says that given that this journey of becoming enlightened, to awaken the seed of Buddha nature within you, the seed of perfection within you, is not an easy task. It will take some time. Because of this, we require a lot of support, and the greatest of support that we can think of is the Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So the first line says, I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. And meanwhile, if you feel pain, please sit comfortably, because pain should not distract us from this reflection. And then this journey, because this journey, the road must be clear of the obstacles, and the road is not other than your own mind, and your mind must be freed of the obstacles of the negativities, like the bad thoughts, anger, negative comments, and so forth. So the best way by which to do so is by confessing the negativities. So the second line says, I confess the negativities individually. So now the road was clear. If the car does not need to fuel, again you cannot travel. So the car is none other than your own mind, and this mind should the inner fuel of the merit or the virtues. And the best way to do so with a short span of time is rejoicing in the virtues of all the beings. So the third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Okay, now the road is clear, your car is inner fuel. What kind of journey I'm going to undertake? I'm going to undertake the journey of the awakening mind, see the perfection within me. Undertake the journey of the Buddhahood. So the fourth line says, I hold Vessel Buddha in my heart. Wholeheartedly, let us say it 3 times, and imagine that all the sentient beings that join you and Buddhist Bodhisattvas, like your parents, they are so proud to see this event today, which you have taken initiative. Okay. I go for refuge to this triple chair. I confess the negativity seen individually. I rejoice in the worship of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple chair. I confess the negativity seen individually. I rejoice in the worship of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple chair. I confess the negativity seen individually. I rejoice in the worship of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Okay, now the next two verses. You invoke Gurus, Bodhisattvas to be here to you. And then first verse is, in the history of humanity, was there anybody who succeeded in achieving a state whereby they're able to benefit all the beings? Yes, there was a young Prince Siddhartha who succeeded in this. And likewise, there are innumerable enlightened beings like Jesus Christ, Ram, Prophet Muhammad, Baha'u'llah, or the Mahavir, and so the Guru Nanak, and so forth. All the great teachers came there. And how did they succeed in this? They generated bodhicitta first, the motivation, very powerful motivation bodhicitta, to become wishing to become Buddha for sentient beings. And then to materialize this aspiration, they engaged in bodhisattva practices, all the good deeds. So, if this is how they succeeded in attaining this power to benefit all the beings, I'll also follow their footsteps. First, by generating very strong motivation bodhicitta, and then to materialize this aspiration bodhicitta, I'll also engage in all the good deeds to make my mind strong to benefit all the beings. Okay. And on the third repetition, completing the third repetition, visualize that you receive the aspiration bodhicitta vow and feel a great joy in this. Okay, together. Gurus, Buddhists, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in their bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and otherwise shall I too successively train in the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and otherwise shall I too successfully follow the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and otherwise shall I too successfully train in the bodhisattva practices. You just feel the joy whenever you see that bodhisattva vow. It's extremely auspicious. Just imagine that, say, your mother, after all these many years, received a complaint from the school principal for a daughter and for a son. And today, again, the school principal comes with escorted by other staff. And again, the mother is very apprehensive. Again, what kind of complaint? And tells the school principal, any complaint now? No. Today I can come here, not complain, to congratulate you for that your son and your daughter, two of them, I appointed as the best students of the school for this year. The mother could not believe her eyes in ears. Such a joy for her. This is exactly what has happened to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas who are like your mothers. All these many lifetimes, we did not do something so virtuous as what we are doing today. Only bad things, which only brought sadness in Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And today what he did brought such a joy and pride in the minds of Buddhist Bodhisattvas. It's amazing. And this joy and the pride of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel, imagine they are so happy. This happiness, pride invoke the Vajramuni in their hearts to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that visualize into heart, thereby become non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all these replicas of Vajramuni from the house of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that visualize at the heart of Mother. Likewise, at the heart of Father, with each one of your children, with each of the sentient beings here artificial center in Dharamsala, in your country, in India, in your own country, in the world, in multiple galaxy, and in the entire universe, the human beings, animals, insects, herbivores, hell beings, God and goddesses, spirits. Now everyone, the Virgin Moon that which you have shared with them, they've been blessed by the Virgin Moon from all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. That's amazing. If you look at life, we see that today this is greatest meaning, and today you extracted this meaning, you've given this meaning to your life. And if there's one thing which is the greatest gift for all the dimension beings, cultivating the bodhicitta and taking the experience of Buddhism vow, this is the greatest gift. And today you gifted to all the beings with this gift. And of all the offerings, the Buddha very clearly proclaimed that one moment of practicing great compassion with all the beings far excels the gifts of gems. The whole universe filled with the gems to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. If this were the case, what mention of our having taken the experience of Bodhisattva today? And today you have gifted the best of the gifts, or today you have made the offering, the best of offerings to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. It's amazing. So this all happened because of the kindness of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, once again, along with all the dimension beings, let us stand up to make 3 prostrations to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Okay, please take your seats. Okay, so what we did is extremely beautiful event, and this bodhicitta, if you think about it, we see that we're very fortunate that we're together here in Tushata Center, which was started with the blessings of His Dalai Lama and Lama Yeshe and Lama Subrahmanyam, and so also over the many years, so many years, perhaps like maybe 40, 50, if not 60 years, 50th year. So all these 50 years, how many people benefited of this and be a part of this? And very fortunate. What about the next life? Shall we meet with the same teaching next life? Not sure. So how to make it happen? One way is by making very powerful prayers. Very powerful prayers. You may ask me, how does it work? How do prayers work? So prayers actually, for example, like say, if you want to come for the retreat, or let's say for this bodhicitta retreat, or say I'm not sure. I heard that his son's going to give a public teaching in Bodh Gaya. Right? They say this is what I heard, and then if it's sure, then you I must go, right? So what takes you there is that the feeling that you want to go, the desire, I must go, I want to go. This feeling will take you there. You getting it? So prayer simply means, it doesn't mean that you pray and then something medical happens. It's your mind which gives energy to this to move in a particular direction. This is the prayer. So we make a prayer that we be connected to the same teaching the true bodhicittas even in the future lifetimes. We make a personal commitment, prayers, and this is how we are connected. Okay, page 51. We read this 3 times together. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in cosmic life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in cosmic life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in cosmic life. Okay, so this prayer is supposed to connect us to these 2 teachings, bodhicitta experimentation in the next life. Now, simply by being connected doesn't mean that you will rigorously engage in this practice. You make the most of this practice. Do you agree with me? If you're connected, it does mean that you will rigorously engage in this practice. Almost 99% of Tibetans stay connected with this teaching, right from the beginning, day when they're born. But you'll be amazed that you meet with some of the Tibetans and they have no clue what's bodhicitta. If you ask what's bodhicitta, they'll say compassion. If you ask what's compassion, they'll say kindness. If you ask what's kindness, they'll say bodhicitta. Right? And there's no clue idea what's bodhicitta. They're connected, but they do rigorously, they are not seriously engaged. Not all, some. So likewise, simply connected, being connected doesn't mean that you will rigorously engage. If you don't rigorously engage, what's the benefit? Tuition is here, but if you there's somewhere down there telling lies, drinking alcohol. So what's the benefit of tuition being here? You are again. So somebody should come here, make the most of this. So in the future lifetimes that we connect with the Dhamma, and then we make the most of this. For this, we have to make sure that we rigorously engage in this. How do we rigorously engage in this? Anyone? Any idea? How many enjoyed Christmas? How many enjoyed Diwali? How many enjoyed your birthday celebration? Your hands? And how many of you want to extend your birthday celebration for 2 days? Or Christmas 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? Or New Year 2 days, 3 days? Diwali 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? How many want to extend it? But when you were young, with hands? Right. Why? Because you enjoy this. When you enjoy it, you rigorously engage in it. You're getting it? So the next lines are to feel the joy. Leave the imprint in your mind to feel the joy of having generated bodhicitta. So with this next life, right, as a young girl or as a young boy, and somebody says bodhicitta, you feel right. You feel a sort of birthday. Somebody says your birthday, right? Instantly you feel your mind is so alert. Like somebody says bodhicitta, instantly your mind becomes so alert. What is this? It's like feeling at home. And you follow that person. As a little girl, as a little boy, you follow the person. And then you enter into Shitta again. Right? Okay, this is how and then you rigorously engage in this, and this is how we follow Gati, Para Gati, the cleansing happens. Then you attain the ultimate aspired goal. Okay. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have recently ceased and awakened Mother Bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I have been born in the family of the Buddha, and now am one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace to pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in the heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. Is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the solvent of death, is the inexhaustible treasure that relieves the poverty of all the world, is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is the tree that shelters all beings wandering tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy state of birth, is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the mystic ignorance of the world, is the quintessential butter from the churn of the milk of the Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of the happiness, this will satisfy them in joy and it shall place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of the Lord Protectors, I invite the world to be guests at the festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, now let us dedicate the marriage. Let's dedicate that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness from this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes perforce will spontaneous, particularly his wish of introducing universal ethics as a proper the education program all over the world, may that be fulfilled, accomplished, so that future leaders of all the world, they come from these education program, that they become a sensible people. They don't become the greedy, arrogant person. They become a very sensible, compassionate person to embrace work with all the other leaders of the world. So let's pray for this. And the teaching of bodhicitta is this precious. Let's pray that these two teachings spread far and wide all over the universe. Our dedicated members thus get the trust realization of the teachings and prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas 3 times under the upholding doctrine, scripture, and insight, and all lives through the force of this marriage, never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect within the 2 stages. From our true collections, vast as space that we amassed, from working with our feathers, just practice for a great deal of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those who aspire to despise the life and think of us. Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamrate Bodhisattva Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamrate Bodhisattva Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamrate Bodhisattva